I was accused of assault while I was 85 miles away. My brother posted, "Believe them," and tried to get me thrown in jail. My parents cut me off until the court slapped him with a $175,000 penalty. Can you imagine being publicly branded a monster, losing absolutely everything? Your job, your home, your reputation, all because your own brother, in his self-righteous crusade, decided you were guilty without a shred of proof? My life was utterly destroyed in the blink of an eye, and I had to fight tooth and nail to reclaim it. The nightmare began on a Tuesday. I teach basic electrical safety courses at Riverside Community College twice a week. It's not glamorous, but it keeps my skills sharp, and the pay is decent. So, when Dean Whitaker, the department head, summoned me to his office after my morning session, I figured it was about the new curriculum, maybe a raise. Something normal. Instead, Dean Whitaker sat there with Dr. Marissa Vaughn, the Student Services Director, and a college attorney whose name I barely registered. The atmosphere was all wrong. Funeral home silent. Too many serious expressions for a scheduling conversation. "Ethan Walker," Dean Whitaker began, his hands clasped like he was delivering a terminal diagnosis. "We need to talk about some allegations made about your behavior at last month's Skills USA competition." My brain immediately went on red alert. Allegations? What allegations? 3 students have filed separate reports, he continued, alleging inappropriate physical contact occurred during the competition weekend in Sacramento. Given the gravity of these allegations, we are placing you on immediate administrative leave pending a thorough investigation. I stared at him, dumbfounded. What competition? The Skills USA Regionals from April 18th to 20th? I repeated the dates they gave me. I wasn't at the competition. Dr. Marissa Vaughn leaned forward, her voice oozing practiced counselor speak that made my teeth ache. "Ethan, I understand how shocking this must be for you. These situations are always difficult, but the most important thing is that we prioritize student safety and adhere to proper protocols." "I wasn't at the competition," I said, slowly, clearly this time. "I was working a 3-phase installation at the new medical complex downtown. I can get the permits, inspection reports, everything." Dean Whitaker's expression remained unchanged. "We will go over all documentation as part of the investigation. However, given the consistency of the reports and the gravity of the allegations, we believe immediate suspension is the appropriate response." "Which reports are consistent?" I practically shouted. "I wasn't there. I didn't go to Sacramento. I was 85 miles away, running conduit through a hospital with security cameras on every floor." Dean Whitaker finally said, as if it was checkmate, "Your name is on the trip roster." I told him the roster was incorrect, offered to provide proof I'd been on a job site all weekend. No one pretended to care. The attorney then droned on about liability and proper procedure. "We need you to gather your materials and leave campus today. Someone from Human Resources will contact you to discuss next steps." That's when it hit me. They'd already decided. The evidence was just an inconvenience that would complicate their neat little narrative. "Can I at least know what I've been accused of?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Student privacy laws prohibit us from disclosing information without signed releases," Dr. Marissa Vaughn explained, her voice still sickeningly calm. "However, the nature of the allegations requires immediate action." I wanted to pull out my phone and show them work orders, signed inspection documents, timestamped photos. But the fact that they were all sitting there, a unified wall of bureaucratic certainty, told me it wouldn't matter. They had chosen their story. I was just the impediment. I cleared my desk in 20 minutes, grabbing my tools, a few books, flash drives. The entire time, all I could think about was that weekend. April 18th. I remembered it vividly. The hospital job had been a nightmare, with inspections scheduled for Monday morning. I'd been on site since 5:30 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, supervising 5 guys and running rough in on the surgical wing. My back was killing me by Sunday night. I had permits, inspection reports, progress photos, daily logs. 5 electricians had worked beside me all weekend. My phone probably pinged off the hospital's cell tower 240 times. A 12-minute record check would have cleared this up immediately. They didn't want to check. From my truck, I called my parents. My dad answered. "They're accusing me of something that's physically impossible." I said, "No preamble, no drama. 3 students claim I did something at a competition I didn't attend. They suspended me." My mom got on speaker. Her voice had that calculating edge that comes with seeing an opportunity. What exactly do they claim happened? They won't give me specifics, but they said it was at the Skills USA competition in Sacramento. I was working the hospital job all weekend. A pause. Then my father. Do you have proof? Permits, inspection documents, work crew witnesses, site photos. His tone wasn't reassuring. It was chillingly calculating. Then we'll handle it, he said. Stop by the house tonight. We need to talk about strategy. That night, I meticulously gathered every piece of documentation. Permits signed by me as the license holder, inspection reports from 4 walkthroughs, hospital security badge logs with entry and exit times, crew statements, timestamped progress photos. Everything organized, chronological, airtight. Proof that not only suggested innocence, but demonstrated physical impossibility. I was not in Sacramento. I was 85 miles away on a job site with a paper trail any second-year law student could check in 12 minutes. I sent it all to Dean Whitaker at midnight, subject line. Documentation, April 18th to 20th hospital job. He never replied. The real knife in the back came Wednesday morning. My brother, Logan Pierce, called me at 9:15 a.m. I was still half asleep. We grew up in the same house. Same surname, too. I assumed blood would count for something. Then I remembered Logan's lifelong need to be the better son. When I started my business at 27 and bought my first home at 29, he spent Thanksgiving dinner explaining that real jobs required advanced degrees. When I paid off my truck in cash, he remarked how blue-collar money didn't create generational wealth. Our parents had always preferred his corporate career over my hands-on work, even with my MBA and community leadership experience. For 3 years, he'd been posting ally content on social media, performative threads about accountability and believing in survivors. His career had stalled. He'd been passed over for director twice. He needed a reason. I just didn't realize I'd become it. Logan Pierce. Thank God. I started. Did you hear what happened? The college is trying to. I can't talk to you right now. His voice was cold. Professional. Your anger is understandable right now, but it is unproductive. We love you, but we need to think about the bigger picture. The bigger picture? What are the broader implications of destroying an innocent person is easier than verifying basic facts? She sighed, as if I was being difficult. We will talk once you have calmed down. She hung up. By Thursday night, Logan had already posted something on social media. Uncle Ray took a screenshot and sent it to me before my mother forced him to delete his phone number from the family contact list. It was a lengthy manifesto about believing survivors even if it costs you relationships, about how true accountability necessitates sacrifice, about prioritizing what is right over what is convenient. 420 likes in just 3 hours. Comments calling him brave and a true ally. No one asked if he had verified any facts. The termination letter from the college arrived Friday morning. Corporate language about maintaining safe learning environments and making difficult decisions in the best interests of students, effective immediately. I'd been teaching there for 5 years. I helped design their entire electrical safety curriculum. I had a 96% student approval rating. I never received a single complaint until 3 students who had never been in my class suddenly remembered that I had molested them at an event I had not attended. They dismissed me in 4 paragraphs. The fallout was immediate and brutal. My landlord issued an eviction notice the following Tuesday. 75 days to vacate. Apparently, there's a morality clause buried in the lease, and being falsely accused of predatory behavior qualifies. My commercial accounts began to pull contracts. The word spreads quickly in the construction industry, and no one wants to be associated with that kind of liability. 3 jobs totaling $195,000 vanished in 10 days. General contractors who had been contacting me for bids suddenly encountered scheduling conflicts. The supply house that had given me net 45 terms for 7 years switched me to cash only. My accountant sent me a polite email suggesting that we reconsider our professional relationship. Friends stopped responding. People I had known since high school abandoned me. My gym membership was mysteriously canceled. When I walked into the coffee shop near my apartment, the guy who ran it couldn't make eye contact with me. I'd been getting the same breakfast sandwich for 4 years. I decided to stop going. I kept sending messages to Logan. After he blocked everything else, I tried email. I sent him the entire evidence folder, complete with timestamps, photos, and documentation proving I was on site that weekend. Subject line: just take a look at this. Delivery confirmed. Never opened. He had decided I was guilty, and the evidence was insignificant. I stopped explaining on day 14. Not because I had given up, but because I realized something, sitting in my empty apartment, surrounded by boxes I couldn't afford to move. Nobody who had already chosen a side was going to look at the evidence. They did not want the truth. They wanted a villain. And I had been perfectly cast. I didn't return to my parents' place. That door was welded shut. I put my belongings in storage and slept in my friend Derek Collins's basement on a folding bed. I paid him cash and rewired his panel, which looked like it had been installed during the Nixon administration. I spent my weekend organizing everything: permits, inspections, time-stamped badge logs, progress photos, crew witness statements. Everything led to the same conclusion: I was not in Sacramento. I was 85 miles away on a job site, doing work that left a detailed paper trail. Monday morning, I contacted a lawyer. Not a large firm. I couldn't afford it. But Uncle Ray knew someone who owed him a favor. A civil rights attorney in her early 40s who worked on Title IX cases and had a reputation for eating college administrators alive. When I arrived at the diner, she was already on her second coffee. "Walk me through it," she said, pulling out a legal pad. I did. The entire situation, the accusation, the suspension, the family breakdown, Logan's social media campaign, everything. She spent 20 minutes reviewing my evidence. When she looked up, her expression was predatory. "This is bulletproof. You were not there." "I understand," I said. "So why are they still pushing this?" "Because admitting they were wrong entails admitting they railroaded an innocent person. The college, the administrators, and your brother went public quickly and loudly. Walking back now makes them appear incompetent or malicious. It's easier to keep insisting that you're guilty and hoping you'll slink away quietly." She nodded slowly. "Here's what you need to know. You have strong claims of defamation, tortious interference, and possibly Title IX violations. Your brother made specific, false, and damaging statements that cost you money and housing. The college disregarded basic due process. This will turn ugly. It will take time and cost more than they are willing to pay. I am not going anywhere." "Good. Then comes the play. We don't participate publicly. We preserve evidence, file the appropriate complaints, and allow them to continue digging their hole deeper. Every time your brother posts, we screenshot it. Every time the college refuses to review your evidence, we document it. When this comes to trial, we will bury them in their own negligence." "How about Logan?" I asked, my voice tight. "What about him? He's out there calling me a predator. He's coaching the families. So let him. Every post he makes, every statement he helps shape, every time he doubles down without verifying fundamental facts, it becomes evidence. The more confident he appears, the worse he appears when we show that he never verified anything. He's preparing your case for you." I liked her immediately. We spent the next hour discussing next steps. Before I left, she gave me one more instruction: send preservation letters to both the college and Dr. Marissa Vaughn. Put them on notice that they must keep all documents, emails, and records related to this case. If they destroy evidence after receiving that letter, it becomes a completely different issue for them. That afternoon, I sent those letters and filed complaints with both the State Accreditation Board and the Department of Education. I also started drafting a defamation lawsuit against Logan Pierce. Nothing dramatic, nothing public, just bureaucratic machinery in motion. Logan continued to post lengthy threads about believing victims, the dangers of families protecting predators, and the importance of choosing moral courage over familial obligation. He wasn't being subtle about it. The whole thing came down to convicting me first and asking questions later. Each post was screenshotted, logged, and added to the file. He was building my case one self-righteous paragraph at a time, without even realizing it. The police investigation began 4 months later. They checked the competition records. My name was not on them. They checked the chaperone list, lodging, and transportation logs. Nothing. Then they investigated the hospital job, discovered my permits, inspection reports, badge logs, and 5 electricians who swore under oath that I'd been on site all weekend. The detective called me in November. He sounded tired, in the way cops do when they realize they've wasted months on nonsense. "We have completed our investigation. I want you to know that we found no evidence that you were in Sacramento that weekend. Your alibi is absolutely solid. We are closing this case with no criminal charges filed. How about the accusations? I asked. A long pause. We are looking into how those allegations were documented and who was involved in the process. This is all I can say. He hung up. I called my lawyer. She was not surprised. Perfect. Now we're after them. She'd been busy while I remained quiet. She submitted a discovery request, served subpoenas on the college, Dr. Marissa Vaughn, and Logan Pierce. The college fought it. Student privacy, institutional privilege, confidentiality, they claimed it all. My lawyer ripped through each objection like tissue paper. But first came the stonewalling. HR began ghosting. The college's legal department issued form letters. We cannot comment on ongoing personnel issues. When my lawyer requested the hospital's security badge logs, they claimed the data was unavailable due to technical issues. The college attempted to make it go away quietly. Their attorney contacted my lawyer in December with a settlement offer, $65,000, a mutual non-disclosure agreement. No admission of wrongdoing. The email had a desperate corporate smell. Make this disappear before it worsens. My lawyer forwarded it to me with a single word, laughable. She responded with our own offer, full reinstatement, a public apology, $325,000, and Dr. Marissa Vaughn's dismissal, or we go to trial and expose every procedural flaw and discovery. They remained silent for 4 weeks. Then, a reporter from the local newspaper began asking questions. Someone leaked the police findings. The college's public relations office started putting out fires. Board members became nervous. Donors began calling. Suddenly, those unavailable hospital badge logs reappeared with exact timestamps. External pressure had forced them to confront reality, something my evidence had failed to do. The discovery materials began arriving in January. Discovery answered the only question that mattered: how my name became attached in the first place. Dr. Marissa Vaughn had forwarded the Sacramento trip roster, which was a recycled template from the previous year. My name was still on there. She treated the spreadsheet as gospel and coached the girls until their statements matched the roster. Dr. Marissa Vaughn and Dean Whitaker exchanged emails about narrative management and story control. Dr. Marissa Vaughn and the students' parents exchanged text messages about how to help them organize their memories. Multiple drafts of student statements with significant edits and additions that clearly did not originate from teenagers. The accusers were not malicious masterminds. They were children. Haley Carter, 18, in the welding program, and Brooke Daniels, 17, studying HVAC fundamentals. Both had actually attended the Sacramento competition. Dr. Marissa Vaughn approached both after the event as part of what was supposed to be a routine feedback session. Their initial statements were ambiguous, confused, and uncertain. Then, Dr. Marissa Vaughn became involved. A single email from Dr. Marissa Vaughn to Haley Carter's mother stood out. I understand she's having trouble remembering specifics, but trauma can make memories fuzzy. Let's try the timeline exercise that we discussed. Walking through the weekend hour by hour can help bring things to the surface. Another to Brooke Daniels' father. I believe we now have enough consistency to move forward confidently. The statements are well aligned. We just need to ensure that the family remains committed to the process and does not waver under pressure. There were more pages to it. Dr. Marissa Vaughn guided, suggested, and shaped every detail until the stories fell into place. But the most damning evidence came from Logan Pierce's digital trail. He was so certain he was the hero that he documented everything. A message to Haley Carter's mother read, "I understand your daughter is having second thoughts. However, backing out now sends the message that if you put enough pressure on victims, they will give in. We need to show strength here." Another, "Don't let them fixate on timelines and alibis. That's just a distraction tactic used by predators. What really matters is the trauma, not the logistics." He had saved everything. Every conversation where he assisted them in refining their statements. Every moment he'd prioritized his crusade over basic fact-checking. Every time he'd pushed back when doubt started creeping in. My lawyer scheduled depositions for February. Logan Pierce went first. The deposition happened in a conference room that smelled like old coffee and desperation. Logan sat across from me for the first time in 9 months. He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes. His lawyer was some underpaid associate who kept checking his watch like he had somewhere better to be. My lawyer looked like a shark that had just spotted blood in the water. She started with soft background questions, his relationship to me, his work, community advocacy. Then she shifted gears. When did you first learn about the allegations against your brother? The college contacted me in late April, asked if I'd meet with them to discuss a serious situation. And what did they tell you in that meeting? That 3 students had reported inappropriate contact during a competition weekend. Did they provide specific details about what allegedly occurred? No. They said privacy laws prevented them from sharing details without parental consent. Did they tell you which competition? Skills USA Regionals in Sacramento, April 18th through 20th. And did you at any point during or after that meeting verify that Ethan Walker had actually attended that competition? A pause. Logan glanced at his lawyer. The lawyer nodded slightly. No. You didn't check the attendance records? Didn't verify the chaperone list? Didn't ask the college to confirm Ethan Walker had even been present? No. My lawyer let that sit for a moment. Ethan Walker reached out to you after the accusation was made. Correct? Yes. And what did he tell you? He said he wasn't at the competition, that he had proof he was working a job that weekend. And what did you do with that information? I told him I couldn't discuss it with him and ended the call. Did you ask to see this proof? No. He sent you documentation, didn't he? Permits, inspection reports, witness statements. He sent emails. I didn't open them. Why not? Logan's jaw tightened. Because I'd already made my decision based on the information the college provided. Looking at his defense felt like it would compromise my ability to support the victims. Support the victims? My lawyer repeated flatly. Even if the alleged victim wasn't actually victimized by your brother? Logan's response was weak. I thought the allegations were credible, but you didn't verify them. Silence. My lawyer let it hang there. The court reporter's fingers stopped. Logan's lawyer shifted in his seat. The whole room could feel the weight of that admission settling like cement. You posted on social media about this case multiple times. Correct? Yes. Public posts, declaring your belief in the accusations and your decision to cut contact with Ethan Walker. Yes. And you helped the families involved organize their statements, didn't you? Hesitation. I provided support and guidance. My lawyer slid a printed screenshot across the table. This is a message from you to Haley Carter's mother. You wrote, and I quote, "Don't let them focus on timelines and alibis. That's just a distraction tactic predators use." Do you remember writing that? Logan stared at the paper. Yes. Were you aware that timelines might actually matter if, for example, the accused person wasn't present at the event in question? At the time, I believed verification wasn't important. I believed protecting the students was more important than getting caught up in technicalities. Technicalities like whether your brother was actually there. His lawyer objected. My lawyer withdrew the question and kept going. You also messaged Haley Carter's mother encouraging her not to let Haley Carter walk anything back, even after the student expressed uncertainty about her recollection. Is that accurate? I was trying to prevent her from being pressured into silence. Or were you trying to prevent her from telling the truth when that truth became inconvenient for your narrative? Objection withdrawn. Let's talk about your testimony to the college board. You gave public comments, correct? Yes. And in those comments, you stated that Ethan Walker was guilty and that the family should support the accusers over him. I stated that I believed the students and that accountability was necessary. Accountability for something he didn't do. I didn't know that at the time. You could have known. You chose not to. Correct. Logan didn't answer. My lawyer leaned forward. Logan Pierce, did it ever occur to you that by publicly declaring your brother guilty, by helping families craft consistent statements, by encouraging them to ignore doubts and stay committed, did it ever occur to you that you might be participating in destroying an innocent person's life? No. Why not? Because I've worked with victims for years. I've seen how often they get silenced and dismissed. I didn't want to be part of that system. So instead, you became part of a system that destroys innocent people without checking basic facts. Objection. The deposition went on for 7 more hours. My lawyer walked him through every message, every post, every statement he helped shape. She made him explain each decision, each assumption, each moment he'd chosen certainty over verification. By the end, he looked destroyed. My lawyer had one final question. Logan Pierce, if you could go back to April, would you have done anything differently? A long pause. Logan's hands were shaking slightly. I would have verified he was there first. The deposition ended at 8:45 p.m. Logan left without looking at me once. His lawyer pulled my lawyer aside in the hallway. I watched through the glass as they talked. The lawyer kept shaking his head. My lawyer's expression stayed neutral. When she came back, she had that look lawyers get when they know they've already won. "He's going to settle," she said. "He has to." His own words buried him. The college board meeting, where everything finally fell apart, happened on a Tuesday in March. They'd scheduled it as routine business, but word had leaked about the investigation findings. The room was packed. Parents, faculty, a handful of reporters, local activists who'd been supporting Logan, and some family members I hadn't seen in months. Uncle Ray was there. My cousin Chloe. A few friends who'd stuck around. I'd asked them not to come, but Uncle Ray had said, "We're watching you get vindicated. We're not missing it." My parents sat in the back corner. Mom had that tight smile she wears when things aren't going her way. Dad looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Logan was absent. His lawyer had probably told him to stay away. The interim college president, brought in from the district office after the scandal broke and Dean Whitaker resigned, opened with a prepared statement about transparency and institutional responsibility. The room fell silent. Then they read the findings. After an extensive review of the allegations made against Ethan Walker, including examination of work permits, inspection reports, security logs, and witness testimony, this board finds no factual basis connecting Ethan Walker to the alleged incident. Ethan Walker was not present in Sacramento on the weekend in question. He was in fact on a commercial job site in the city, performing licensed electrical work, with multiple witnesses confirming his presence. Murmurs rippled through the room. Furthermore, our investigation revealed significant procedural failures in how the initial accusations were handled. Students were interviewed without proper protocols. Statements were edited and refined by college personnel in ways that compromised their credibility. Multiple administrative decisions were made without verification of basic facts. The interim president looked uncomfortable. Ethan Walker has filed civil claims against this institution, against Dr. Marissa Vaughn, and against his brother Logan Pierce for defamation and related allegations. While we cannot comment on ongoing litigation, the college wishes to acknowledge that Ethan Walker was wrongfully terminated and that his professional reputation was damaged by institutional failures on our part. Someone in the audience shouted something. A reporter stood up. The president gavelled for order. "We are prepared to offer Ethan Walker a settlement in the amount of..." My lawyer leaned over and whispered, "Don't take it. We're going to trial on the defamation claims." "Make an example." I nodded. Logan Pierce's case went to trial in May. Civil court, not criminal. Money and reputations, not handcuffs. His lawyer tried everything. Argued good faith reliance on the college's investigation, claimed his posts were protected opinion, said he was trying to support victims, and didn't have a legal duty to verify facts. My lawyer destroyed him. She walked the jury through every piece of evidence Logan had ignored, every message coaching families to ignore doubts, every public declaration of guilt without checking if I'd even been in the same city. "This isn't about believing victims," she said in closing. "It's about what happens when belief becomes a weapon." Logan Pierce didn't just fail to verify facts. He actively avoided them because they were inconvenient. He helped manufacture consistency and statements that were falling apart. He pressured families to ignore their children's doubts. He did all of this publicly, loudly, with absolute certainty. And he did it to a man who was 85 miles away on a commercial job site when this alleged crime supposedly occurred. The jury took 3 hours. Liable on all claims. $175,000 in damages for lost income, reputational harm, and emotional distress. Logan's face was blank when they read the verdict. His lawyer tried to say something. He just stood up and walked out. The college settled the next week. $310,000, a public apology, agreement to reform investigation procedures. The settlement required them to send formal correction letters to every single person in business they'd notified about the accusations. My landlord, every vendor who'd pulled contracts, the college department mailing list, the local contracting association. All on official letterhead, stating that the allegations were unfounded, that I'd been wrongfully terminated, and that their investigation confirmed I wasn't present at the event. My lawyer called it reputational remediation. I called it watching them eat crow in writing. My old landlord called me 2 days later, apologized, offered to be a reference. 3 vendors who'd dropped me reached out about new contracts. The department chair who'd supervised my termination had to sign every letter personally. They also paid settlements to the families whose kids had been used as props in Dr. Marissa Vaughn's crusade. I don't hate Haley Carter or Brooke Daniels. They were 18 and 17 when this started. Just kids who got pulled into something they didn't understand by adults who should have known better. Dr. Marissa Vaughn manipulated them. Logan reinforced it. Their parents got coached into believing consistency mattered more than truth. The girls were confused, pressured, and surrounded by authority figures telling them what to remember. I blame the adults who used them. Dr. Marissa Vaughn lost her license 5 months later. The state board found she'd coached students, manufactured evidence, and violated about 18 professional standards. She tried to appeal. It went nowhere. I didn't move to some new city to start fresh. Forget that. I rebuilt right here, where everyone could watch. I used the settlement money to buy my own building. For 1,500 square foot shop with office space and room for equipment. Hired back my old crew. Started bidding on the commercial jobs that had dropped me. Turns out a multi-100,000 settlement and a court judgment in your favor is pretty good advertising. Within 7 months, I was busier than before the nightmare started. My parents tried to reconcile in July. Showed up at the shop unannounced while I was running conduit for a restaurant renovation. I saw my dad's car pull into the lot and knew exactly what was coming. My dad started with, "We thought it was important to clear the air and discuss. Get out of my shop." My mom tried her soft voice, the one she uses when she wants something but needs to pretend she's being reasonable. "Ethan, sweetheart, we were just trying to do what we thought was right at the time. We didn't have all the information. You had the information. I sent it to you. You chose not to look at it because Logan told you not to. That's not fair," my dad said. We were in an impossible situation. Family was divided. Emotions were high. Emotions were high because you let Logan declare me guilty without checking a single fact. You backed his play because he's always been your golden child. And I've always been the disappointment who works with his hands instead of pushing paper in some corporate office. My mom's eyes got teary. We never stated that. You did not have to. You demonstrated it when it mattered. I returned to work. They stood for another minute before leaving. I haven't heard from them since. The family fracture never healed. Uncle Ray and cousin Chloe remained in touch. Everyone else either supported Logan or remained silent. Fine with me. Blood is meaningless when those who share it throw you under the bus at the first opportunity. Logan attempted to rebuild his advocacy career, but the court judgment followed him everywhere. He was fired from his nonprofit job 4 months after the verdict. Last I heard, he was working for an insurance company doing grunt work for $48,000 per year. Natalie, his wife, left him in September. She took the house, the car, and his remaining dignity. I did not celebrate. It didn't feel good to watch him crater, but I didn't feel bad either. The true satisfaction came from watching everyone who was so certain, so righteous, and so sure they were on the right side of history. Watching them all have to eat their words and knowing they'd never admit their mistakes. Logan Pierce arrived on a cold Saturday in October, nearly 20 months after the accusation. I was closing the shop around 6:30 p.m. when his truck pulled into the parking lot. I immediately recognized it. He'd driven the same beat-up Ford since college. He sat in the cab for about 7 minutes before getting out. I continued loading tools into my service van as if I had not noticed him. He walked over slowly and stopped about 12 feet away. "Ethan." I had finished loading the drill kit before looking up. "What do you want?" He looked worse in person than I had expected. Thinner, older, and worn down in a way unrelated to age. I wanted to talk. About what? About everything? About what occurred. He came to a stop. "I messed up. I know that now." I closed the van door and leaned against it. "You drove an hour just to tell me you messed up? That is your big revelation." "I am trying to apologize." "You are trying to make yourself feel better. There is a distinction." His jaw tightened. "I was wrong about everything. I should have listened to you. Should have examined your evidence. Should have checked to see if I was actually present before declaring me a predator in front of the entire family. Yes. Before telling families to ignore their children's doubts, they should have verified at least one fact. Yes. Should have considered for a second whether your crusade was more important to you than the truth." He did not respond to that one. I pushed off the van. "Logan, you did not make a simple mistake. You made a decision. You chose to believe I was guilty because it made you feel better. Because it allowed you to be the hero. Because verifying facts required effort, while believing in your own righteousness was simple. I was trying to help. You were trying to feel important. And when the evidence did not support your narrative, you simply ignored it. I thought I was doing the correct thing. No, you assumed you were the correct person. There is a distinction. You've spent your entire life striving to outperform me in terms of intelligence, success, and status. When those students made their accusation, you saw an opportunity. You finally had proof that you were the good brother, and I was the screw-up you always thought I was. His hands shook. That is not the case. You did not verify my presence because you did not want to. You wanted me to feel guilty. It matched the story you had been telling yourself since we were children. Silence stretched between us like razor wire. I lost everything, he admitted finally. My job, my marriage, my reputation. I understand that this does not make up for what I did to you, but nothing. You did not lose those items because of what I did. You lost them due to what you did, because you prioritized your crusade over basic facts. When the truth was revealed, everyone knew exactly who you were. I walked past him toward my truck. Ethan, please wait. I paused but did not turn around. Do you want forgiveness? Do you want closure? Do you want me to tell you that everything is fine and that we can rebuild our relationship? I'd like to try. Then try this. Accept the consequences of your actions. Live with the fact that you destroyed your brother based on unverified accusations. Live with the knowledge that when it really mattered, you chose your ego over the truth. Live with the knowledge that everyone who praised you for your bravery was actually praising you for being certain of something you never checked. Do not call me again. Do not show up at my shop. Do not send letters, emails, or messages via family members. We're finished. I got into my truck and started the engine. Through the windshield, I could see him standing in the parking lot, shoulders slumped and smaller than I'd ever seen him. His hands were inside his pockets. His head was down. He appeared to be a man who had finally realized what he had done and that there was no way to fix it. I drove away without looking back.